Hello, people and people of the CPC. This is your coach, Albert Bumf, coach of the Carioca Krooks. And today we're going to be doing a draft analysis of my team for the CPC. Never done one of these before, so this is going to be fucking awkward, but I don't care. So to start things off, I went with Mega Gardevoir. It's a favorite of mine, my favorite Mega in the format. Before people try to fight me, I don't think it's the best Mega in the format. It's the one I like to use the most. It's just idiot proof. There's no misusing this Pokemon. Just click Hyper Voice every time and everything dies. It's really easy to use and it has the coverage it needs. It has Thunderbolt for the Steelers and the Skarmories. It has Focus Blast for the other seals. It has Shadow Ball for bulky psychics. It has everything it needs. It has Calm Mind for the annoying mons. It has Psy Shock for the Spadaf walls. It really, it doesn't need anything. It can do everything. You just click buttons and you win. Mega Gardevoir is so good and so easy to use. I love using this mon, just staying in. And Psychic Fairy is a great typing. I only wall by Steel on some bulky psychics. So I love using Gardevoir. To back it up, Gardevoir, I went ahead and drafted Kartana. Fast Pokemon. 109 isn't that great, but it backs that up with stupid 181 attack, which is just amazing. Kartana is one of those mons that people have to prep for it. You can't ignore it. You have to bring your Scarf HP Fire mons. You have to bring special attackers. You just can't ignore it. Kartana just kills people if you let it. If the monster wallet get weakened enough, you just lose. That's straight up. And I love using this mon. It also complements Gardevoir really well because Gardevoir is more of a special attacker. Kartana cripples the physical walls. Their typings are really good together. Kartana is immune to poison and resists steel. Gardevoir resists fighting and it doesn't really care about random HP fires. So that's a good offensive fairy and steel core per se. So fairy and steel go really well with dragon. I don't have to explain why a fire dragon steel core is a good thing, which is why I drafted Como. Como, really amazing mon. It supplements both of them really well because it has a balanced status spread, so it can be physical or special, or special. It can be mixed. And really great typing. Dragon checks other dragons sometimes, depending on the dragon, depending on the spread. They can Dragon Dance, Dragon Claw. You can set up. You can use fighting to break steals with both Kartana and Gardevoir Hate. So I have a dedicated steel breaker. Bulletproof and soundproof are niche abilities, but they can have uses. Soundproof helps a lot with subs, Salak, Belly Drum shenanigans. I decided to make this my Z user. I was originally going to Z use Kartana, my main Z user, because we have two. I originally gonna Z use Kartana, but I decided to go Como. For reasons I'll explain later. Because of the fire type that I drafted, I'd rather have a strong fighting type with access to Z moves rather than Kartana. I'd rather have Stab on my fighting types, and Como, unlike Kartana and Gardevoir, which are stupid strong right out of the gate, Como is 110 attack, 100 special attack, isn't anything special. You don't be breaking stuff without setup. So I like having Z move on Como because you have access to Z Poison Jab, Z Iron Head, Z Flamethrower / Fire Blast, Z Focus Blast, so you don't have to miss. And that just generally makes Como more threatening. It makes Como a reliable wall breaker without having the need to set up. And also my first Stealth Rocker, which it's gonna be a problem in this team, but we're gonna talk about later. Anyway, for my fourth mon, I needed another fire resist, in my opinion. I also wanted some support. I love Toxic Spikes in this format. I wanted a mon that could give me Toxic Spikes and removal, and just generally I don't want to rely on combo as my only fire resist, because like I said, Gardevoir can take random HP fires, but it's not gonna take full-on stab, flare blitz or whatever, flamethrowers and fire blasts. So I wanted a dedicated special wall, and it helps with fighting too, because Tentacruel resists fighting and fire. Gives me rapid spin support, and it's quite fast actually, because you don't expect this mod to be 100 base speed, but it is. I know it's kind of an overlapping speed tier between Tentacruel and Gardevoir, but that doesn't matter that much. You see why. Liquido is great ability because grass types can just spam Leech Seed versus you, because they're gonna pay if they do. Clear Body is good because against team with webs, you can use a fast Tentacruel Clear Body to always get rid of webs. Not always, but most of the times. So Tentacruel is not actually that bad of a removal user. You don't have to rely on on defog, as I'm gonna be using a lot of hazard spam, and I need at least one spinner. I was going for two, but snipes happen. You can't do anything about it. Physical defense is not great, but it's manageable. 80 HP is good enough, so 65 defense when invested, it's reliable enough. So, like I said, I was going for a hazard stack approach. I love hazard stack in the format, and Kartana and Gardevoir love webs, and one of the best web setter is Ribombee. That gives me double fairy. People are saying stuff about Gardevoir and like picking Ribombee over Gardevoir. This makes no sense to me. Their roles are completely different. Ribombee is like a glass, like very frail Pokemon that prides itself on its speed and utility and setup in Quiver Dance. Gardevoir is just a nuke. It just clicks Hyper Voice and kills stuff. Completely different mods in my opinion. Shield Dust is okay because you can take fake outs, but that really doesn't matter that much. His abilities aren't the reason why I draft Ribombee. I drafted for webs mostly, and it also gives me a much needed speed because, spoiler alert, is my fastest mon, and it and Kartana are my only mons that break 100 speed, which is sad, but I don't think that's that big an issue because between Ribombee and Kartana, there's a lot of mons, but there's no mon that can run Modest. Say, I don't think there's a base 123 speed mon. Base 122 is Greninja, and if Greninja runs non-plus speed nature, it can't outrun Kartana. So that's like, as far as like I'm concerned about forcing people to run plus speed natures, my speed tiers are checked, so I'm fine. 95 special attack is not that great, but like I said, Ribombee here is like a very late game sweeper or a web setter. It's not gonna do much besides that. Fairy Stab is always good because Fairy Spam is a really strong strategy. Anyway, alongside Ribombee, I needed a fire type because my team's getting mad fire weak, and so I wanted to break steals because, like I said, a lot of my offensive mons outside of Como need steel types gone, and I wanted a dark type. I was originally going for Darmanitan. I know Darmanitan is not a dark type, but that's not the point. But Darmanitan got sniped. Apparently everybody just picked fire types in round 6, which is kind of funny. But I decided that if I can get Darmanitan, I'm gonna go for Incineroar, so I can just scratch out the dark type need. And Incineroar is a great mon. I usually don't like drafting slow mons that are weak to rocks, because I think this makes them utility very low. Guys, you gotta be very wary of stealth rocks, guys. Ribombee is weak to rocks, but it doesn't matter that much because it's so fast anyway, because even at 1 HP, so can do work. Incineroar on the other hand relies on its HP. Its book's very good, but that weakness to rock can bite you really hard. But anyway, I drafted as a dark type because one of the things my team's gonna struggle with is bulky psychic types, because Ribombee is not gonna cut it. Night Slash from Kartana is not gonna cut it, and Focus Cycling type is one of the things that can wall combo, can wall Gardevoir from extent, something like Spadafmew can be a problem. And I wanted Incineroar, and I decided to make this my second Z user because I might as well, because our secondary Z user has to be under 9 points, Incineroar is 8. And all my other mons under 8 points want to run other items in my opinion, maybe Ribombay, but the only reason I'd see myself using Z move on Ribombay is to run Psychium Z to check poison types, but I already have Gardevoir to remove poison types anyway, and other stuff that you see later. I don't think poison types will be a problem. I think bulk is having access to Malicious Assault and other stuff on Incineroar to get rid of Steel and Fire, and bulky Psychic types is much more needed here. The reason why I mentioned Steel is I can use Z Fire to avoid recoil damage from Flare Blades, and also makes Incineroar much scarier. Having access on Z moves on Incineroar makes it much scarier, so it forces more switches. People just can't stay in Calc. And Incineroar likes to force out switches, so it can use U-turn and can use knockoff. And Intimidate is a great ability. Despite being so slow, I like having access to Intimidate because I can just sack Incineroar or something. Get that -1 attack off, which might be just enough to set up with Kartana or Como or something like that. So the Shinity is definitely there. Next, I went for my Steel problem removal. I know I've been saying I'm weak to Steel a lot, and I'm drafting a lot of stuff that removes the Steel, but I was planning ahead. I'm also going to draft a lot of stuff that loses to Steel later, so the whole idea of this team is like remove the Steel type and just spam everything, mostly Fairy, fighting in Steel types to win. And I drafted Magneton. Magneton was only 8 points, and Magnezone was like 10, 11, or 12, something like that. People are insane. I know some people are gonna fight me over this, but Magneton is so much better than Magnezone in the Draft League format. For many reasons. I'm not gonna go over why I think that in this video because this is not a Magneton gush. But overall, I think Magneton is a good Pokemon. The 4 times weakness to fighting is, sorry, not fighting, ground, is kind of a problem. Right now, my ground resist is Ribombay, which is dangerous. I have 3 ground weak Pokemon. One of them is a 4 times, 1 resist, and 3 neutral. I don't like that, but I can work around it. Ground types are usually fairly slow, a few exceptions. I can usually check them offensively. And as for ground coverage, it's not that big a deal. And Magnet Pull, great ability. Helps with your Celesteelas, your Skarmories, your Metagross, whatever, your Jirachis. Access to Eviolite, decent enough Scarfer. And I don't have to explain what Magneton does. It's Magneton. Double Steel, by the way. Next, I wanted Braviary, also known as Poor Man's Staraptor. Braviary is actually a really good mon. The reason why I called it Poor Man's Staraptor is because people often compare it to Staraptor, I see, because they're both normal flying types with fighting coverage that just like to suicide themselves using Breeze Bird and kill everything. But Staraptor is often considered a better choice because of speed and reckless, and I agree, Staraptor is a way better mon than Braviary. However, Braviary gets access to Defiant, which is something I really wanted in this team. I wanted a Defiant user to punish people that want to use Defog on me, because most people don't have a Rapid Spinner. And not most people, but sometimes people don't have the Rapid Spinners. It's a common thing. So they rely on Defog to remove hazards, and I already have Webs, Rocks, and Toxic Spikes, and I'm gonna get spikes. So people are gonna want to use defog versus me, especially when you have a Mega Gardevoir and a Kartana on the webs. That's terrifying. So people will bring removal versus me, and I want to punish those who want to bring removal. Braviary is also not hurt by rocks or spikes or toxic spikes. So I can always, if there are webs on both sides, for instance, I can just throw Braviary. It won't be affected by webs. We'll get you +2 attack from the defog, and I can just spam Brave Bird and kill everything. Greymon. That's what I want. I drafted. It also is my second. Incineroar is a Ghost Resist. Braviary is a Ghost Immunity, and I wanted a Ghost Immunity, which it helps. It's not gonna be the greatest, but 100 bulk, 75 defenses. It's usable. Now next, for some reason I got round 9 Milotic. I don't know why this lasted all the way to round 9, but I kept looking at Tentacruel and thinking it's my only water type, and I usually like having at least 2 water types. I don't think it's necessary. Sometimes I can go with 1 or even 0, but the fact that Tentacruel has such key weakness like Ground and Psychic that doesn't synergize exactly too well with combo, and like my team was already ground weak enough. I wanted a water type that's not weak to ground, and Milotic with Marvel Scale is extremely bulky. It's stupid hard to take down. It has access to recover. It's a great move. It's not set up fodder because of Haze and Dragon Tail. And it also has access to competitive if I want to be cheeky and use competitive to punish defog as I would using Braviary. I probably won't do that, but who knows, it might be a matchup thingy. And it's overall Greymon. Like Milotic, I have no idea why this lasted 9 rounds, and it was probably going to go undrafted if I didn't pick it, to be honest, because people are running out of points at this point. But anyway, I got Milotic, Greymon, amazing. So 10, and probably the reason why I got Milotic was Klefki, which is my third Steel type and my third Fairy type, which is insane. Triple Fairy, triple Steel, let's go. But again, none of the demands I said, like none of my Fairies and none of my Steels play the same role. Klefki is a support mon practically exclusively. It's here to set up spikes. It's here to prankster T-Wave shenanigans, which is a great utility to have, by the way. The access to prankster T-Wave can just solve problems that would otherwise make you lose the game. Say something, just boost up to +2 speed, or would sweep your team, just throw the Klefki paralyzed, and now the problem has been solved. Possibly one of the best spike setups in the game because of prankster and amazing typing. Steel Fairy is straight up broken. Despite being a Fairy type, Klefki shares no weakness with Gardevoir, and it only shares one weakness with Ribombee, that is fire, and that is due to their secondary type, not to their Fairy type. Klefki also a Steel immunity, and a poison immunity, which helps Gardevoir and Ribombee a lot. Takes pressure off of Kartana. I don't need to use Kartana or Magneton as poison pivots. That's really helpful. And that's it, it's just Klefki. It also gives me access to prankster screens, which is lovely, giving my teams a bulky offense approach. And that's it. And as things stand right now, I only have 1 Stealth Rock setter and no electric immunity at all. So I wanted a ground type with access to Stealth Rocks. I initially wanted Donphan, but that was sniped pretty early. It was sniped around round 5, around 6. I couldn't grab it. So I considered different stuff like Rhydon and Rhyperior, but those have 4 times weaknesses that I don't want to deal with. I don't want 4 times grass and water weaknesses. I know Rapier gets solid rocks, so it's technically 3 times, whatever, don't care. So I decided to just go with a solid ground type, which is Mudsdale. Mudsdale is a great mon because it actually has really respectable bulk. 185 is impressive enough. For a 6.1, it's great. It has access to Stealth Rock. It has Stamina, which is great ability. You can switch up into Priority and just get 3+1 defense. It doesn't have reliable recovery, but with Rest, you can do enough. I can use Rest and just Stealth Rocks and Toxic, and it does its job. Like as an electric immunity, it's serviceable, and the only problem is heavy, so it's grass, not fodder. But again, whereas like those weak grass moves won't do anything against Kartana and Incineroar and Magneton and Klefki. So I think I'm covered on that aspect. Same goes for water. My water is just our own point. So I think I'm okay. And it's also giving me a very, very slow mon, which it's important in my opinion, because otherwise all my mons were like between 60, I think. Yeah, when Incineroar 60 and 109, except for Ribombee, so it's even faster. So that could have been a problem for like Trick Room teams, but Mudsdale at least under creeps base 40s, which is good enough to pressure people from not using Trick Room, just fine. It also has access to like Heavy Slam and some other cool stuff. So yeah, for what it's worth, it's good. And last but definitely not least, I drafted Satan, also known as Sigilif, which is a horrible Pokemon that nobody should ever face. Everybody has lost to this thing in random battles at least once. Everybody knows what it does. It comes in, it doesn't die. It set up 6 cosmic powers, and it just stays there forever, using Roost and Store Power, and it just kills everything because they don't have a Dark type, and it's horrible. So yeah, Sigilif. My second Psychic type, my second Flying type. The Psychic type itself doesn't matter. It's funny because I actually have like 3 Pokemon that are 4 times resist to fighting, and Gardevoir, Ribombee, and this. So I don't think fighting will be a problem. But the Psychic Stem, it's not that big of an issue because I think my Ghost and Dark resists are covered between my multiple Fairy types. Gardevoir is weak to Dark, and Ribombee and Klefki are Dark resist, and Incineroar. As for Ghost, I have Incineroar and Braviary, so it's okay. Ghost resists are rare anyway, and there aren't any truly scary Ghosts, but Cephalon wasn't draft. I think one guy has Gengar, but other than that, Ghost isn't really an issue. And I wanted Sigilif because it's a Magic Guard user. It's good so people don't spam status as much. It has access to Defog, which is something I want. I actually have a bunch of Defoggers here, but like Braviary, I don't want to use Defog on it because it's a terrible Defogger. Kartana also doesn't want to run Defog on it because I'd rather run offensive coverage on it. Ribombee, same thing. Klefki is the only good Defogger in my opinion because it has Sprinkster Defog. But Klefki, sometimes I might not want to bring Klefki, so I wanted another Defogger that's reliable in my opinion. Sigilif is actually fast enough that I can consider it reliable Defog, and it also is immune to every single hazard in the game, so which is good because of Magic Guard and being flying, though it doesn't take webs. And with speed, it means it can defog on everything. You can switch in on ground signs relatively safely because 72, 80, 80 bulk isn't good, but it's not bad either. So it's serviceable. And Sigilift also has added bonus of being a mon that forces prep, in the sense that if you don't bring phasing, you don't bring setup to set up alongside it, you don't bring a Z move Dark Ghost Z move, you won't be able to crush it, and you just set up on your face and kill you. What the fuck is this music in the background? Jesus Christ. Well, whatever. This it's probably the Sigilift cursing my video. Anyway, this is the draft, this is the team, and the team has a bunch of weaknesses, but the weaknesses are manageable. It's very weak to fire, in my opinion, but I don't think fire will be too much a problem. Neither Zarx nor Zarwai was drafted, so it's fine. Blacephalon wasn't drafted. The only fire types that are truly scary around are Darmanitan and Victini, in my opinion. The team is also kind of weak to flying, because the only flying resist I have is a Magneton and Klefki. But Magneton has a 4x weaknesses, and Klefki is already pressured enough by other stuff. Klefki is actually really good flying resist, but it's also a Klefki, so either way. But the only flying type that's really threatening, in my opinion, around is Mega Arrow. It doesn't really have good flying coverage, and Mega Pinsir, which is really scary, but I can work around that. So the team also has some other weaknesses. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna work around, but I'm not gonna go too deep into detail into that, because I don't want to give my opponents an advantage. So that's pretty much it. That's the draft, and that's it.